All right. Good morning, students. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, teacher. Morning, teacher.
All right. So, everyone, how are you today?
I'm okay. I'm okay. And you?
You are okay. All right. So, how do you spell the word okay? O.
Okay, AY. Okay, AY.
Okay. So, what is the day today? Today is
Monday.
Monday. Very good. What is the color of Monday?
Yellow.
Yellow. So, how do you spell the word Monday? Gao?
Monday.
Very good. Okay. Spell yellow. Tonhom. Tonhom. Spell yellow. Okay. How about Lukpat? Lukpat, kindly spell the word yellow.
YELLOW.
All right. Very good. Okay. So are you ready? Let's start the class.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So let's start. So our topic is all about how living things fit in their habitats. All right. So this subject is science and it is for grade 5. So let's start first with the vocabulary words. Okay. So let us read all together. You follow teacher. Okay. So number 1, space. Again, space.
Space.
Number 2, habitat.
Habitat.
And habitat.
Habitat.
Very good. Number 3, living.
Living.
Very good. Living.
Living.
Okay. Number 4, plants. Again, plants.
Love.
Right. Very good. Number 5, animals.
Animal.
Very good. Number 6, river.
River.
Again, letter R, river.
River.
All right. Number 7, lake.
Lake.
And lake.
Lake.
Number 8, forest.
Forest. Forest.
All right. Number 9, mangrove.
Mangrove.
Yeah, number 9, mangrove.
Mangrove.
Okay, number 10, desert.
Desert.
All right. So very good, everyone. Those are the vocabulary words for our topic this week. Okay. So again, so let's move on to the discussion. Okay. Please participate, everyone. Please mute yourself and unmute it if I will ask your name. Okay. Or I will call you. All right. So how living things fit in their habitats. Okay, so all living things, both plants, okay, so living things, both plants and animals are linked to their habitats or living space. Okay, so when we say habitat, this is our living space. It is the place where we live. Okay, they must have the right structures and features, okay, so structures and features to fit the life in their habitat. This makes them fit and live in their different living spaces. Okay, an adaptation is a change of some features by living things to survive in a habitat or living space. So again, an adaptation is a change of some features by living things to survive in a habitat or living space. So for you to be able to survive in a living space, you have to adapt, right? All right, so we have here the structures and features of plants that fit in their habitats. Okay, so we have here a water mimosa. So this plant grows in water. It has a sponge cover on its stem and help it float on the water. Okay, so since this water mimosa grows in the water, its stem has a sponge cover. So as you can see, there is white here on its stem. Okay, that is the sponge cover. All right, that helps this plant flow on the water. Okay, so that is how water mimosa adapt on its living environment. Okay, all right. Next we have here water hyacinth. Okay, so this plant grows in water also. So it has a bulb-like stalk with a lot of air gaps that helps it float. Okay, so if the water mimosa has a sponge cover, okay, the water hyacinth has a bulb-like stalk with a lot of air gaps that helps it float. So as you can see, this water mimosa has this bulb-like stalk. It looks like a small balloon. That stalk has a lot of air gaps that helps the water hyacinth to float on the water. Okay. Number 3, okay, we have here lotus. Okay, so this lotus, this plant grows in clay soil or wetlands. It has a hollow stem that makes it light and easier to float on the water. Okay, so this lotus can grow in the clay soil and wetlands and clay soil. So for the lotus to be able to survive in that environment, it has a hollow stem that makes it light and easier to float on the water. Okay, so that's how lotus survive in the clay soil and in wetlands. Okay. Next, we have here a tree. This is called baobab. Okay, so this plant grows in deserts. It stores a lot of water in its trunk, long roots to absorb more water deep below the ground. Okay, so since it's growing in the desert, so we know that in the desert, there is no water, right? So it's hard for you to find water there. So now, for the baobab to be able to survive in the desert, so it has these long roots to absorb more water deep below the ground. It stores a lot of water in its roots and also in its trunk. Okay, so this is the trunk. Next, we have here cactus. Okay, so this plant grows well in dry areas and in deserts. So it has a thick stem for storing water. Its leaves grow in needle shapes to lower water loss. Okay, so since this cactus is growing in dry areas and in deserts, okay, so now it has a thick stem for storing water. So it has this thick stem for storing water, and its leaves grow in needle shapes to lower water loss. Okay, so it can survive in dry areas and in deserts. Okay, next we have here mangrove tree. So this plant grows in mangrove forest. It has prop roots for its support. Okay, so since it grows in coastal areas, some parts of its roots are above the ground. Okay, to take in air when the soil is covered with sea water. Okay, so some parts of its roots are above the ground to take in air. Okay, when the soil is covered with sea water. So that is how mangroves survive in the coastal areas. So let's move on to the next. Okay, let's move on to animals. Okay, so structures and features of animals that fit in their habitats. Okay, so first one is we have a mud skipper. Okay, so mud skippers live in the mangrove forest. They have strong side fins. They use these fins to swim in muddy water. Okay, so they have strong side fins. Okay, so they use that fins to swim in muddy water. Okay, so for them to be able to survive in the mangrove forest or in the muddy water. Okay, next we have here fish. Fishes live both in fresh water and in salt water. They have 5 kinds of fins. We have side fin, stomach fin, back fin, bottom fin, and tail fin. Okay, so fishes use their fins to move in water. Okay, so for them to be able to move in water, they have these 5 kinds of fins for them to be able to survive. Okay, all right. Next, we have a frog. Okay, so frogs are amphibians. They have webbed feet that helps them to move in water. Okay, so they have these webbed feet. So this one. So they have these webbed feet that helps them to move in water. So that is how the frog survive in the water. All right. Next, we have here polar bear. Okay, so have you seen a polar bear? Okay, so they live in the North Pole. Okay, they have thick fur and a lot of fat under their skin. This helps them to live in very cold places. All right, for the polar bear to be able to survive in the cold places, they have this thick fur and a lot of fat. Okay, they have a lot of fat under their skin. Okay, so this helps them to live, or this helps them to keep warm. Okay, even the temperature is very low. Okay, so next we have a camel. So camels live in deserts. They have long eyelashes to keep dust and sand away from their eyes. So they have these long eyelashes. Okay, so they have humps on their backs. Okay, so this is the humps to store fat for their energy. Their foot has 2 toes. They spread when it touches the ground to keep them from sinking into the sand. Okay, so since they are living in the desert, okay, so there is a lot of dust and sand. Okay, so that's why for their eyes to be able to be protected, they have these long eyelashes. As for the humps in their backs, this helps them to store fat. Okay, they store fat for their energy. Okay, and their foot. Okay, so since they are in the desert, right? So you will sink in the sand. Okay, so that's why these camels have 2 toes. It is to keep them from sinking into the sand. Are you still listening to teacher?
Yes, teacher, yes.
All right, that's good. Okay, let's continue. Next, we have chicken. All right, your favorite. Chickens live on land. Okay, they have short and strong claws. Okay, for scratching and finding food. They also have a strong beak for pecking food. Okay, so that is how the chicken live on the land. So they have these strong claws for scratching and finding food, right? And next, they also have this strong beak, okay, their beak that is used for pecking food. Next, okay, so we have here also another type of adaptation, okay, into our living area. So living things in different habitats adapt themselves to match other animals in that habitat, okay, or to match the environment. So this helps the prey from being spotted by predators and also helps the predators to trick their prey. Okay, so there are 2 ways that animals adapt to their environment. Okay, so first we have here, we call camouflage. It is when animals blend with their surroundings to hide from other living things. Okay, they do this to protect themselves or to trick their prey. Okay, for example, leaf insects adapt to look like a leaf to hide from predators. Geckos change their color to hide from their prey. Okay, so this insect, it is adapting to look like a leaf so that it will hide from the predators that may eat. Okay, so geckos also change their colors to hide from their prey. All right. So for example, geckos wants to eat another insect. Okay, they change their color. Okay, they camouflage also to hide from their prey. All right. Next, number 2. Okay, mimicry. All right. It is when animals look or do like other plants or animals. Okay, they do this to protect themselves from their predators and also to attract their prey. Okay, for example, a leopard lace-wing butterfly can mimic a common tiger butterfly for its predators to think it is poisonous like a common tiger butterfly. Okay, so a karenga ant-like jumper can mimic to look like an ant and stay in an ant nest to catch ants for food. So you see, this karenga ant-like jumper. Okay, so it is mimicking the looks of an ant, okay, to stay in the ant nest to catch ants for food. Okay, for the ants to think that she or he is belong in that family. So we have an activity here in page 20. All right, everyone, kindly open your book, go to page 20. Okay, so fill in the blanks with the correct habitats. Okay, so we have here animals. So the options are the desert, the North Pole, the mangrove forest, the sea, underground, rivers, the forest, and on trees. Okay, so a camel lives in the desert. Okay, so and number 2, a mud skipper lives in the mangrove forest. Okay, and number 3, a deer lives in the forest. Okay, so those are the answers for activity in page 20.
I having it.
Okay, let's wait for the others. Is everyone finished?
Yeah. I having it.
Okay, so everyone is finished. Now let's move on to another activity. Explain how these animals fit in their habitats. Okay, first is a tiger and number 2 is a cacti. All right, so how can this tiger fit in their habitats or in its habitats? Okay, so a tiger's seamless camouflage to their surrounding is enhanced because the striping makes them difficult to detect for unsuspecting prey. So the tiger has these stripes to help them more difficult to detect for unsuspecting prey. All right, so that is for tiger. All right, everyone, please copy the answer and tell me if you are finished, okay? All right, is everyone finished?
I'm finished. No.
I'm finished.
Yes. No.
Okay, so don't worry, for those who are not yet finished, I am going to send a photo in line, okay? Don't you worry. So you have to check the picture that I am going to send it online, okay? So that you can follow. All right, so let's move on to the next for this time.